Hello and welcome to Video Revealed. I'm Colin Smith. Shout out to Peter Helft for this one. This is how to scale a video inside a frame. This is a very common one, how to scale something inside a frame so it doesn't change. I'm going to show you two ways. One way will work with almost every previous version of Premiere Pro, but you have to have two layers. The new way is using the new Essential Graphics panel. Let's go have a look. So I've got our dog here. He's on his own track, and I want to zoom in to his face in a frame. So let's look at a simple way to do that with the crop effect. So I'll just double click on the crop effect, and we'll take this in on the left and on the right. And the bottom. So creating a smaller version of this video. So there's the dog. Problem is that when we go to our motion settings and scale, we're going to scale the whole thing. Maybe you want that. But the idea here is keep the frame size in that little window and scale the video inside. You need to add one more effect to this, and that's the transform. So you'll see it's in the distort category, transform, and you need to change the order of these. So put the crop below and put the transform above. Now when you scale, he's scaling inside. Pretty easy. This works with very old versions of Premiere Pro that both have transform and crop. The next one that people will say is, that looks great. Can I draw a border around that? Sure you can. You can either use the old title tool, which is still there, file, new, let's go show you file, new legacy title. And from there we grab a rectangle, draw that around there. You draw it obviously a little bit better. Instead of it being it would be a closed Bezier. And here you can grab any color you want and change the overall line width. The problem with that is you're going to have to take that title, drop that title in yet another layer over top, and they're two separate things. So now if you want to scale the whole thing, you have to scale two things together. So let me show you an easier way of doing that. With the new Essential Graphics panel. So here's my background. At the top, I'm going to go into the Essential Graphics panel workspace. In the Edit button, Edit panel, click and add from file. I'm going to choose the same Adobe stock video. It comes in as a graphic, and I can scale that out, and there is my graphic. It looks pretty much like a video, but it's inside a graphics object. First of all, I need to trim this, and I can do that by going to the effects controls, twirling down the opacity, and clicking here on the create 4-point polygon mask. I'm just going to change my feather to 0. If I move to the middle of that, I can move the whole mask. I'm going to drag that to the top. To change the other sizes, click and drag around. You can see how they're both highlighted. And you can either move with the Shift key and your mouse, or you can hold the down arrow, up and down arrow key. You add Shift to that, you can change that there. Okay, so now we've got one graphic object. And if we go to the clip, there's our clip, that's what we added. If I change the scale, it's going to scale inside there, okay? So that's essentially the same thing. What's going to make this more useful is now when we add a frame to this, make sure it's still selected, and under the pen tool, look for the rectangle tool. And here we can draw around. If you still have the mask selected, I want to show you this peculiarity. If you still have the mask selected, even though you have the rectangle tool, the hand tool comes up, don't worry about that. Just start clicking and dragging your rectangle. And when you draw that rectangle, you have to draw it inside the mask. You'll also have to go over here on the right and notice the order of things. So we started by dropping in the stock video, and now we've got our shape. We need to drag the video below the shape. So when I do that, now it shows up. Now I'll go back to my shape over here, make sure I have the move tool, and now I'll resize my frame so it fits inside the mask. All right, so we've got the shape above, we've got Adobe Stock below. If you look over here, it's actually the opposite. So for whatever reason, these are in a different order in the effects control panel than they are over here. But after I've created that, I'm just going to go back to my editing, and you'll notice that I have a scale property in motion here. So if I scale the whole thing, both the frame and the dog are enlarged. If I twirl down the clip and scale from here, I can scale inside. And notice that I've got keyframes, so I could actually be scaling and animating this. All right, so there we go. We've got our dog inside the frame in one object. And if we wanted to, in our graphics, you could export this out as a motion graphics template. Motion graphics template. And you can actually leave that inside. You can put it in any library, or you can leave it in the essential graphics, and you can call it whatever you want. Dog frame. Click OK. Now when we go back to our essential graphics, there's our dog frame right there. We can drag that out, brings it in, and shows up just like that. I'm going to have way more tutorials on the new Essential Graphics. Some people are just calling it the new titler. That's going to be coming much later with very in-depth settings. But this one I thought made sense to show you how we can make this with one layer very simply. I showed you the alternative version here where you could use the crop effect and an old legacy title back in CS6, so you could do it that way. You still have to scale two objects. But in the new version of Premiere Pro, using the Essential Graphics panel, now you got your dog in your frame and everything is set to one object. And I showed you how you can reuse this very easily. All right. Hopefully you found this informative. If you're new to Video Revealed, take a moment and subscribe. You want to take your support up a notch? Join us over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith, and it's my job to get you